human perspective.
Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you so much for joining. Well, I'm talking about the Celestine Prophecies. Now, if this keeps coming up for you, there's a reason for that. And in fact, the book will go into the synchronistic reasons why it kept coming up for you, why it keeps coming up for you. It came up for me quite a bit before I paid it any attention, because by the sound of it, I was sort of expecting to read something like the Hopi Prophecies or the Casey readings, or something that was a little bit more cryptic, like Nostradamus or something. But just so you know, this is a novel. This is a novel that unfolds in a synchronistic way for the main character about these prophecies that he's looking for. And I don't want to, spoil it for anybody, but I do have links below if you'd like to just read it online, listen to it online, or purchase the book. But it's a must read for anybody who's a regular on this show, that your life has been just one synchronicity after another. This book is really going to resonate with you. It keeps coming up. Even this video, I've been planning this video for a long time. And so Sherry, Overprotected, pointed this out. She was probably the most recent person that had mentioned this to me. And I finally went and I took the time, and I'm so glad I did, to check it out, because the book is absolutely amazing. It's definitely at the top of my list. And as far as just self-development and as an eye-opener, compared to the I Am Discourse, it's right next to that for me. As far as just looking at things differently, as far as energy transfer between humans, how to really boost yourself up, the I Am Discourse is great. I've actually included a link to that below too, the playlist, to check that out. But as far as opening your eyes and seeing what actually happens on a daily basis, there's not a better source that's enjoyable to read than the Celestine Prophecies, and that's my opinion, of course. So the main part of the book, he's looking for these insights that sort of unfold in synchronistic ways. It's in a novel format, so you'll enjoy it, but I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to give any spoilers, so I really wanted to get to the certain part that beyond the synchronistic events that happen in the book, they get to different insights, but one of them focuses on energy transfer. And there's a part in the book where this guy begins to see energy transferring from person to person with interactions between different people. The most eye-opening for me was the control dramas, because I see it playing out all around us every day, because there's sort of this mentality that you have to compete for energy, when the truth of the matter is we have an infinite source of energy readily available from source itself. We don't have to take the energy of other people. So that's how we learn to get energy, and that's how we learn to boost ourselves up, is falling into one of these control drama personalities, which it's broken down into 4. So that's what I really wanted to focus on today. I have a few resources. Like I said, all of these are linked below, so you guys can go check them out for yourself. Wonderful information. This one's from naturescreation.biz, and it talks about the 4 energy control dramas from the Celestine Prophecy. I would also recommend, if you read this book years ago, even just a few years ago, revisit it, because I can definitely see this not resonating, or it just being just a great story or something if you read it a long time ago. So I read the Celestine Prophecy some 20 plus years ago. One of the most important teachings I learned from this wonderful book, and still use today, is how to determine and recognize the subtle energy manipulations that people use to draw most of us into their dramas. Learning and distinguishing between the 4 types of energy dramas has been a blessing. Once I learned this skill, I've been able to extinguish potential flare-ups before they evolve, avoid energy drain, and to give and receive energy in a positive way. A subtle energy exists, previously undetected by science, that forms the basis of all things. Human perception of that energy starts with an increased awareness of beauty, people, animals, plants, ecosystems that have a high level of that energy appear particularly beautiful. By becoming aware of that energy, we become able to notice when and how we give and receive energy. A fundamental assumption underlies most human interactions. We must compete for this energy, drawing it from others and protecting ourselves from others' attempts to draw it from us. This leads to some nasty interactions. There are 4 main methods used to get energy, called control dramas. Types of energy theft. First, there's the Intimidator. Take energy by threat, forces people to pay attention, using fear. And I want to add here that we've all fallen into one of these categories at some point or another. And some people fall into multiple categories at once as well. Or you'll fall into one category with one type of a person and then fall into another category with another type of a person. But so the Intimidator and then the Interrogator stills energy by judging and questioning others, make others feel inferior by finding faults in others. The Aloof. Now, the Aloof gets energy by acting coy and hard to get, often acts clueless, tells redundant stories, even if you have heard them. And then there's the Poor Me. Takes energy by making others feel guilty, complain about problems, and rarely state solutions. And I'll add to that, or are even open to any solutions when you're trying to deal with the poor me. So living the new spiritual awareness. Now, once you start seeing these up here, it's just such an eye-opener. Once you start to begin to notice this within interactions, within relationships, you begin to see how some people drain other people, some people uplift people. You can see how people fall into different, or even yourself, fall into different dramas with different relationships you might have. Below, James Redfield explains the control dramas from the Celestine Prophecy and how to overcome them. Overcoming the power struggle. The great achievement of the interaction of psychologists was to identify and explain the way humans tend to compete and dominate each other because of a deep existential insecurity. It has been from the East, however, that we have gained further clarification of the psychology underlying this phenomenon. As both science and mysticism demonstrate, humans are in essence a field of energy, yet the East maintains that our normal energy levels are weak and flat until we open up to the absolute energies available in the universe. When this opening occurs, our chi, or perhaps we should call it our level of quantum energy, is raised to a height that resolves our existential insecurity. But until then, we move around seeking additional energy from other people. Let's begin our discussion by looking at what really happens when two humans interact. There is an old mystical saying that where attention goes, energy flows. Thus, when two people turn their attention to one another, they literally merge energy fields, pooling their energy. The issue quickly becomes, who is going to control this accumulated energy? If one can dominate, managing to get the other to defer to his point of view, to look at the world in his way, through his eyes, then this individual has captured both energies as his own. He feels an immediate rush of power, security, self-worth, and even euphoria. But those positive feelings are won at the other person's expense. For the dominated individual feels off-center, anxious, and drained of energy. All of us have felt this way at one time or another, when we are forced to defer to someone who has manipulated us into confusion, thrown us off balance, shown us up. We suddenly feel deflated. And our natural tendency is to try to win energy back from the dominator, usually by any means necessary. This process of psychological domination can be observed everywhere, and it is the underlying source of all irrational conflict in the human world, from the level of individuals and families all the way to cultures and nations. If we look realistically at society, therefore, we see it is an energy competitive world, with people manipulating other people in very ingenious and usually quite unconscious ways. In light of the new understanding of the universe, we can also see that most of the manipulation used in this regard, most of the games people play, are the result of basic life assumptions. In other words, they form the individual's field of intention. When we move into interaction with another human being, we must keep all this in mind. Every person is an energy field consisting of a set of assumptions and beliefs that radiate outward and influence the world. This includes beliefs about what an individual thinks other people are like and how to win in conversation. Everyone has a unique set of assumptions and style of interaction in this regard, which I have called control dramas. I believe that these dramas fall along a continuum ranging from very passive to very aggressive. Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy, this is physics. Overcoming our control drama. Most of us throughout life hear various complaints from others about our behavioral patterns. The human tendency is to ignore or rationalize away these complaints in order to go on with our preferred style of life. Even now, when knowledge of self-defeating scripts and habits is becoming a greater part of human awareness, we find it very difficult to view our personal behavior in an objective manner. In the case of severe control dramas in which a person has sought professional help, crisis reaction can undo years of progress and growth in counseling as the old patterns, once thought conquered, reappear. In fact, one of the emerging revelations among professional counselors is that true progress takes more than the catharsis that occurs during the personal exploration of early childhood traumas. We now know that to the end these unconscious attempts to gain energy and security, we must focus on the deeper existential basis of the problem and look beyond intellectual insight to tap a new source of security that can function regardless of external circumstances. Here I am referring to a different type of catharsis, one that the mystics have pointed to throughout history and one that we are rapidly hearing more about. Knowing what we do about the energy competitions in human society, our challenge is to look closely at ourselves, to identify our particular set of assumptions and the intentions that constitute our drama, and to find another experience that allows us to open up to our energy within. And this link leads to a video. I want to play a little piece of it, show his solution.
So once you realize which ones are predominant in you, then you can start to change them. You can start to become aware when you're doing it and go, oh God, I'm actually in one of my control dramas now. Or you can see when other people are doing them and you can go, they're just in the control drama. They're just low on energy, you know. They're just low on energy. That's why they're doing it. They don't actually mean anything personal to you. They're just low on energy. And that's the only way they know, because that's what they've been programmed, conditioned to understand. Of that's how they get energy. The solution to it all is that there is a divine source of energy. That divine source is all around us. It's abundant and it is infinite, an infinite source. So we don't need to steal energy off each other, off other people. What instead we can open up to the divine source of energy, and that's in the air we breathe. That is all around us. That is changing our perception, going from a place of gratitude. Actually looking for what we can be grateful for, what we can be appreciative for. Instead of looking at the other person and thinking, you know, what they're not doing right, actually look at them and going, well, maybe I could just change my perception and say, what can I appreciate in this person? What can I be grateful for about this person? And that will actually start to that will actually pull in that divine energy and fill you up that way, so then you don't need to steal the other person's energy by going into whatever control drama you may go into. Okay, that is it from me, and that is it from Indigo Phoenix.
Big thank you to Matthew and Indigo Phoenix. What a cute little baby. That video is kind of old. I'm sure he's walking and talking now. So this actually comes from the website of the author of the book. It really only goes into the poor me control drama is all I could find on it, but it gives you a great example of how dealing with one of these control dramas can push you into one of the corresponding control dramas just in the way we react. But this is for the poor me control drama. Now it's real obvious when somebody, you know, falls into one of the more aggressive control dramas like the Interrogator or the Intimidator. I mean, because you feel that that right away you feel that agitation or that pull of energy from you. But I'm glad they brought up the poor me, because it's for a lot of people that want to be loving, compassionate people that are, showing unconditional love to people. This can be a much more insidious control drama, because it really plays on, our compassion for people, and because we want to be compassionate. But what's the best way to respond to someone that's fallen into a poor me control drama? And if we find ourselves falling into this, what's the best way to pull ourselves out? So let me get into this, and then I'll have some more comments. The poor me control drama, how to respond. We've all been there. We have a friend, loved one, partner, or coworker who starts complaining about how life has dealt them some pretty rotten hands. They go on and on. They're inconsolable. We may care and want to help them, but we may find ourselves needing space from their constant pessimism and complaining, which drags our energy down, down, down. One of the first signs that we recognize when we're in a control drama or heading into one is that our energy is in decline. Recognizing a poor me control drama. The first step is to recognize what's going on. If you're to the point of being able to identify the poor me control drama, then you've achieved a lot. Imagine this scenario. A friend continues to complain about problems in his or her life. We genuinely want to help, so we offer some suggestions. They say yes, but, and give their reasons for why your ideas won't work. We continue this pattern for a while, giving a new suggestion and getting a new yes but response until you give up, frustrated that they are just not willing to feel better. Why don't you try this? Have you done that? How about you talk to blank? Which they counter with another yes, but. No matter how terrific our suggestions are, they just don't seem to be willing to listen to our advice. Frustrated with their unwillingness to get out of the poor me drama, we may try other approaches to resolve this control drama that we're seeing. Stop talking to them. That's the aloof. You see how trying to deal with one control drama forces us into our own control drama in response. Get angry and yell at them. Put your head on straight and quit whining, the Intimidator. Tell them that their life is not so bad and give them some of our own problems, which make their problems seem like child's play. That's the bigger poor me. You can criticize how they've gotten themselves into the mess they're in and let them know that if they just listened in the first place, they'd not be in such a difficult situation. The critic or interrogator. You can see what is beginning to happen here. There is nothing like falling into a corresponding control drama to straighten out someone else's control drama, right? If you recognize yourself having any of the responses, you are definitely not alone, as I found myself in each of these responses too. And as I mentioned earlier, and will continue to repeat, the first step to stepping out of the control dramas is to have the awareness that we're falling into them. Okay. We can see that when we are feeling anxiety, there are some unhealthy ways to respond. Let's look at some other choices that may work better for you both. Responding to a poor me control drama. Replace anxiety with the source of divine love. Whenever a control drama is occurring, it is always a reminder to reconnect with the source of divine love. Stop, relax, and know that some problems are just not yours to fix. Fill your heart with as much love and energy as you can. Continue to hold that connection, no matter what your friend is doing or not doing. Then pour from this fullness and offer both your loving energy and a listening ear. The reality is, offering your advice may not help them at all. Many problems are bigger than what can be solved in a single hour. If you feel guilt-trapped or accused of being part of the problem, let the love connection keep you centered and merely name the game by saying the accusation feels unfair. Don't ever argue. Just continue to say how it feels to you. Then let the person talk. By giving your friend the space to talk about their struggles without interjecting, they can be led to find clarity and insight on their own, opening the door for them to intuit what the solutions might be. The Mr. Fix-It story. A book came out a few years ago called Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus by John Gray. While I didn't agree with all of Gray's gender role descriptions, I did find this point about the Mr. Fix-It response to be pretty enlightening and helpful, and so I want to share it here. Gray describes a situation in which the wife tells the husband about her day. In doing so, she may report challenges she faced, difficult people she talked to, or other upsetting things that happened. The husband, hearing of these challenges, puts on his Mr. Fix-It hat and attempts to give her advice and help her solve her problems. He wants to rescue her from all of her difficulties. However, rather than feel supported and loved, the wife gets upset with the husband for not listening to her. Taking off the Fix-It cap and holding the space. Gray suggests taking off the Fix-It cap and just listening instead. Just sit there, pay attention, and hear their words fully. It takes a lot of strength to hold that powerful muscle called the human tongue. But you must use this strength if you want to step out of a poor me drama. Whether the poor me drama is coming from your wife, husband, friend, coworker, allow him or her a few minutes to just throw whatever ails them out without taking it in as yours. Think like Superman. Imagine how the bullets bounced off him. The best way to be a hero in this moment is to just allow the bullets, poison, and anything else that might get thrown out to just bounce off of you without reacting. Being strong enough to hold the space and your tongue is the kind of strength that will best serve the poor me drama. When you respond to a poor me control drama, offer compassion. I hear your pain. I can see that you're struggling. I agree that really stinks. I care about you, and I hope things get better for you. In most cases, your friend just needs some space to vent and come to their own solutions. So offering a listening ear from a place of acceptance is always a good response. Stop to check in with your energy, fill up from divine security within, and pour forth positive energy to your friend in need. I am trying to help, yes, but what about the yes but? If you believe you have information for your friend, it is important that you share your insight. Be sure that it is coming from a positive place before you share. You're ready to offer suggestions. Why don't you? Have you tried this? How about, I can hear it now. You continue to offer suggestions and continue to be met with another yes but response. This pattern continues until you stop offering suggestions, and you very likely wind up frustrated with the outcome. What happened? Well, it is possible that your loved one was still stuck in the poor me drama and had not yet filled up their energy. In other words, your Mr. or Mrs. Fix-It cap came out too soon. With each of your suggestions, you were still trying to fix the issue for your poor me rather than giving them energy and seeking out his or her wisdom to solve the issue. The way out of this particular game is to give the power back to the person with the problem. Continue to hold the space for them. Continue to pour energy into them. Ask for their highest wisdom rather than giving them your own. You might ask a few questions rather than give your answers to them. What do you think you need to solve this? How can I be helpful to you with this problem? What is your next step? Would you like some ideas about your choices? In the event that they want ideas about choices, you can give your ideas as a list of choices that they can implement or not. If they do not want your ideas, then remember that strong listening and pouring out energy is what builds healthy relationships. We're in this together. My expertise comes from lots of practice with control dramas. We all want to think the masters don't engage in these games, but the truth is, they do. I do. And everyone has these issues at times. With practice, we improve by noticing more quickly when we're falling into or stuck in the drama. and gain wisdom concerning how to step out. Be patient with yourself and your own growth process, knowing you're in good company. We just keep working on getting better at authentic communication, healing the hurt spots, learning from challenges, and trying to live our lives holding the Celestine vision. And I think that is excellent advice. Some of the things I do to help out if I'm feeling low on energy, rather than to, engage in other people and take their energy, is to put on music. Music is very powerful. We talked about this on the show with Nathan, how music can be so powerful to minister to your spirit and your health. And I know Aurora from Flying Rainbow Lasagna talked about putting on Rage Against the Machine. I was surprised because she doesn't look like she'd listen to that, but that's a great one. If you're feeling like angry and stuff, instead of lashing out, put on something like that. That's sort of a Rage Against the Machine type of a music, and it can really uplift you at times when you feel down and you feel low on energy, and then you're receiving it, from the infinite source. And so put on music, dance around, get out in nature, just really be in the moment and admire the trees and the sky and the clouds, and listening to the birds or listening to the water running or just whatever. Just getting out in nature is always a good thing to do, to get away from the electronics and stuff. It's something I do quite a bit. And, if you're not a big meditator, a lot of my meditation is just sitting out and being still and listening to nature, and just sort of having a blank mind and just being in the moment and taking it all in. And that is a real big energy booster, and just appreciating. And even if you have a problem with certain people, just appreciating that person instead of trying to take their energy. You can actually send them loving energy by appreciating that person and loving that person. I know a lot of us have our own personal relationship with people that's close to us in our family and stuff. And, it takes time and dedication to really take care of those relationships. And sometimes you don't have the time for more distant type relationships, and you really have to weigh you have to balance out the time you want to spend. Prioritize is the word I'm looking for. How you want to spend that time, because if it's the choice between a brother or sister or wife or a husband, or maybe a distant friend from school. And I think that's why we're seeing this breakaway from different relationships we have in our life, because sometimes it's hard enough to just take care of the relationships that's the people under your own roof even, rather than lifelong friends that it's like such a drain to hang out with certain people. And I think that's why we're seeing this division with certain people. And I would say just let it happen. If people fall away, they fall away. And there's nothing you can really do about it except love them through it. And with that, check out the links below. Definitely check out the Celestine Prophecies. It's powerful. And I will see you on the next one. We have a live call-in show, so join us for that. Lots of love and light to you guys. Bye-bye.